It's been holding well. Oh, hi guys. Welcome to another episode of the Rusty Beauties Restorations. Today we are on this beautiful 1975 TR6 that also has some history with me. Not on the channel, hasn't been on the channel, but years ago, probably around 2016, this car was in the limousine center where I used to work. It came for a refreshment, let's say. So what we did at the time was we stripped the entire car, everything on the outside, the interior, I don't know what else, but we stripped it a lot and we shipped it for paint. It went to a paint shop, they patched some rust, if I remember correctly, and they painted the car. And then it came back to us and we reassembled it, we renewed the interior, some of the panels, we refinished the dash, and I did some electrical work, if I remember. It was a long time ago, it was 7 years ago, I think. Anyways, it's a beautiful car, it has triple Webers, it has a J-type overdrive as well, and it is just a nice car. Since then, we lost track of the car because it changed owners, but then in one of the car shows, I met the new owner of the car. He showed me his car and I was like, okay, I know this car, I've worked on it. And he's like, really? Yeah, I worked on your car. So anyways, long story short, the new owner, now for a couple of years, I believe, I've been meeting him at car shows and drives, and he keeps telling me that his overdrive works intermittently. So that's the main reason why this car is here. So what he says about the overdrive is, in the beginning of the drive it works well, and then as the car warms up and he keeps driving, the overdrive stops working. So I told him to top up the oil, obviously, but that didn't help. Apparently they topped up the oil somewhere in another shop, I believe, and it didn't work. So intermittent overdrives usually are because of electrical, because the electrical connections on the Lucas electrical systems are not great, but this here has a pattern. It's not just intermittent, it is working well when the car is cold and it's not working well when it warms up. So what I'm thinking is, of course we're going to check the oil, we're going to take out the filter and clean it, if not replace it. I don't know if I have a new one, but we will see. Change the oil, and then we're gonna even try to start the car on jack stands and check the oil pressure with the overdrive working. So that's the main reason why the car is here. Of course it has some other things. We're gonna have to do an oil change, and we're gonna top up the diff oil, and that's it for now, I believe. But the main problem is the overdrive, so let's get crack-a-lacking on that. Okay, in the first place, let's see what we have here. This is the J-type overdrive, and looking at the connections here, it looks like they are pretty tight and good, and since there's so much oil here, I don't think it's a loose connection here or the ground up there. However, we don't know what's going on top of the transmission. You can see the wire going up there. This is the reverse switch on this side. The one that we need is the third and fourth switch, which is on top. That also might be a culprit, but anyway, it might be electrical, but we don't know. So we're gonna deal with the oil first. We definitely wanna change the oil, so as we're changing it, we're also gonna inspect the solenoid. Actually, we're gonna take it out and we're gonna bench test it. We're gonna turn it on and we're gonna see if it stays on for a long time. Maybe when the solenoid gets hot, it gets sticky, who knows. Anyways, before we do that, since we have this oil leak here, we don't know how much oil's inside. So is it worth checking that first? Maybe we should open the transmission, take out this plug here, and see how much oil there is. I don't want to top it up because we're gonna drain it after anyways. So at least we can see how much there is, and maybe we can hook up the pressure gauge and see what pressure it builds before we drain it. The problem is here. This is where the pressure gauge connects, and once we open it, the oil is gonna leak out. So we're gonna have to be careful with that, but yeah, actually, let's do that. Okay, I had really hard time removing this plug. I have this special wrench, but here, because of this slip, it was really hard. I need to buy a 7/16 square socket. Anyway, the plug is out, and if you look at that, there's not much oil in it. So I put my pinky inside, and my pinky is pretty small, and I'm able to put it quite a bit. I'm actually able to put it inside and bend it, and I don't touch any oil. So I think there's not much oil. I think that's our main reason why it doesn't work, but we're gonna test it. So next step is to try and remove this plug and put the tool without losing too much oil. I'm gonna plug this back temporarily because we want to run the transmission and the overdrive to see what pressure we build. Okay, so turns out it wasn't that hard. I removed the plug and barely any oil came out. This is how much came out, like 2-3 drops. So I'm assuming this is on the other side of the valve. When the valve is not open, there's no oil there, or at least there's no pressure maybe. So the J-type should build a little bit more pressure than the A-type. Apparently it should be between 430 and 460 psi. Let's see how much we're gonna build here anyways, and we're gonna go from there. Unfortunately, I have to open the door. It's 1 degree Celsius outside, so it's cold, but we have to open the door. We have no choice. So let me start her, warm her up, and we're gonna check the pressure. All right, let's put her in gear and see what's gonna happen. So that's 4th gear without overdrive. Let's see if any pressure builds up. Yes, 60. Wow, that's without overdrive. Let's turn the overdrive on and see what's gonna happen with the overdrive. Now the overdrive is on. Nothing. Well, with that pressure, you can't expect much, right? I don't think there's any oil inside the transmission. Let me rev it a little bit, but I don't know. Like barely any pressure. Actually, when I hit the gas, it goes down. Zero. Can't tell whether the overdrive is engaged or not though. But it should have pressure even without the overdrive engaged. The pump is always pumping. Whether the pressure goes to the pistons or not, that depends on the solenoid. But even without the solenoid open, we should have pressure. And when we open the solenoid, the pressure drops down a little and then it goes back up. And when you turn the overdrive off, the pressure is still there. But now, we don't have anything like that. Well, obviously then the next step should be to change the oil. But like I said, as we're changing the oil, we're gonna clean up the filter as well. And also, I'm gonna take out the solenoid to make sure that it works properly. Since it was a suspicion for years now, it's a good idea to take it out and test it on the bench. And of course, as we're taking out the oil, we're gonna see how much there is. It should be 1.5 liters for J-type. I know we're not gonna be able to drain it all. Maybe I should lower the front end a little so we can drain as much as we can. But yeah, we will see. It's not very little actually. We will see. We're gonna measure it. Don't mind the guy talking in the background, watching somebody's video about frame repairs. Okay, I lowered the front end a little bit so it is on an angle, so we drain as much as we can from the oil in the overdrive too. Look at that guy. Repairing frames. Okay, so that's how much oil came out. It's not a lot. We're gonna measure it later. Well, a little bit more came out actually. Anyways, we want to remove the solenoid, right? So here I made in the past this wrench kind of, which is narrow profile and it's 1 inch. However, it works great when it's off the car, but here I can't use it. So I went ahead and I sacrificed a 1 inch wrench that I have, an extra, and this fits well here. It needs to be narrow profile though, so what I did was I ground it with the grinder, both sides. So now we can undo it. Never ever try to undo the solenoid by grabbing it here with pliers or something, because that's gonna ruin it. So I'm gonna unplug it now. Come on. And let's see if it is gonna come out. Yeah, that's how much it needed. Wasn't much, right? Okay, hopefully it's gonna come out. No problem, because I don't know how much space I have behind it. These wires don't matter the polarity, it's just the coil inside. It doesn't matter which way you energize it, whether it's negative positive or positive negative, doesn't really matter. Okay, so that's our solenoid. Let's go test it on the bench. Okay, so here we are on the bench, and since we're here, I don't have these O-rings, but just to make sure they're nice and soft, and yeah, my fingernail goes into them, so they're still good. Maybe it was a good idea to replace them that we are here, but unfortunately I don't have them. So let's see if it works in the first place. So we're gonna use my power source and see if it is gonna click. So the A-type overdrive solenoid goes like bang bang big time. This one is a little bit more quiet because the solenoid also includes the valve. This part is the valve here. Inside there's a plunger that goes back and forth. Yeah, I can hear it clicking. And I can see inside here everything is moving. And you know what? I'm gonna plug it in and I'm gonna let it sit like that for a long time. We will see how hot it is gonna become. It drains 2.28 amp, so that's not a lot. And actually, that's another difference between A-type and J-type solenoids. The A-type solenoid has two coils inside. One is pull-in coil and one is hold-in coil. So the A-type uses a lot of current initially to pull in the lever of the operating valve, and then once the solenoid engages, the pull-in coil disconnects automatically. It has a little micro switch inside, and only the hold-in coil remains energized, and that draws a little power like here. For the J-type, it doesn't have two coils inside. It only has one, which draws, you can see here, draws 2 amp, which is not a lot. Maybe it's surging in the beginning, which we can't see there, but it's not a lot. But anyways, we will see if it becomes hot and if it keeps working even after it has been engaged for half an hour or whatever time we take to take apart the filter and clean it and make sure that everything is good there. So while we are testing the solenoid, we're gonna take this cover off here and we're gonna see the filter. So there are two filters here. There's one big filter and one smaller. So the big one is the suction filter. So I don't know exactly which one does what, but we're gonna take them out both and we're gonna clean them. I don't know where is the leak coming from, but I don't think it's from this cover, unfortunately. I think it's from above somewhere. Oh, it's okay. Whoa! Missed the bucket. It missed my bucket big time. So this is one filter. I don't know. I don't wanna cover it with my hand. So there you go. This is one filter. Doesn't have much on it. Actually doesn't have anything on it, which is good. But we're gonna take out the other one too. So the other one is under one of these three covers, and I think it's the biggest one, but I'm gonna go double check before I make a mess. I hope you can see from there. So for this, I made a long time ago this special tool that fits inside these holes. You see, for all these three covers, it works great. Even though some are bigger, some are smaller, but the configuration of the hose is the same. Okay, I checked with this guy on YouTube, elin, I don't know what his name is. In one of his videos of rebuilding a J-type overdrive, he says that that's where the filter goes. So, wow, I can't undo it though. Oh, everything is so much easier on the bench, you know. Can we flip the car upside down? No. It's gonna put up a fight, but we're not gonna give up. It doesn't fit all the way somehow. Why? Is there something in this hole? It fits so much better in these two, not in this one. All right, I had to modify my special tool. I don't know if you see it very well from there, but I made something that fits pretty well now. It used to be a 3/8" socket, so holy moly! How? Oh, okay, it actually came out. So there's a fiber washer here, or aluminum washer. It used to be aluminum, and then they started putting fiber washers here as a seal. I don't know why you need a seal inside, but it is what it is. So let's see. Okay, so here are both filters, and this is what's on this one. It's barely anything. Anyway, we're gonna wash it in the parts washer. And here on this one, there's a little bit more. I don't know what this is. Like, anyway, I will see. I think I have a new one of these. I'm gonna replace it. And inside here, like little shavings, but really microscopic, so not a big deal. Wow, this one is actually hot. Ooh, actually really hot. Wow, let's see how hot. Wow, 100 degrees. We can boil water on it. I don't think it's supposed to be that hot. And it doesn't click anymore. It still draws, what is it? Even less power now, which is nothing. It's like 1.5 amps, nothing, but it doesn't work now. So this is our culprit. I'm pretty sure the oil was the other culprit too, but look at that, now it doesn't return actually, because it was engaged all that time, and now it doesn't move. Holy moly. Okay, you know what, I'm gonna take it outside to let it cool down, and we will see if it is gonna start working again. No, doesn't move. Can I push it from here? Now I was able to push it a little bit. And it actually goes in, and when I let go, it comes back out. Okay, anyways, I'm gonna take it outside. I'm gonna leave it for 10-15 minutes to cool down, and we will see if it is gonna work again. Et voila! We have snow. I don't know if you see it, but you can see it here definitely on my barbecue. Oh, I hate this time of the year. My Spitfire got uncovered. Hello, baby, and good night. Okay, it turns out I don't have a new filter, so I washed this one. There's nothing wrong with it. There's not much stuff on it. I washed this as well. I'm gonna go wash the cover, but here at the bottom of the cover you see there's a magnet, and it has some sludge on it and also some metal particles. Not a lot, but there is some. So they actually look yellowish, so it might be the synchros on the transmission. As they're getting worn, they shed a little bit, you know, which is normal. Anyway, I'm gonna go wash that, and we're gonna assemble all this. Alright, so I put back the filters inside, assembled the cover, and I used a little bit of RTV on it. I don't know if you can see, because I had to reuse the gasket, but it looks like the leak is coming from above somewhere, so that's not gonna solve it, but at least it's gonna help, I hope. Anyway, let's get the solenoid back inside, double check it. We're gonna have to put it back on because the car needs to go to winter storage, and I'm gonna tell the owner to buy a new one, or I'm gonna buy a new one for him, and when he takes the car out of storage in the spring, we're gonna replace it. $25. Well, okay. So from 100 degrees, the boiling temperature, to 0 degrees outside, the freezing temperature, and in 10 minutes from 100 it became 25. Anyway, let's test it again. I'm curious in which direction the thing goes, the plunger inside. Now it works. Oh, so it goes that way. Okay. So the thing is, when it got stuck in that direction, which means it got stuck open. Now it works just fine. The thing is, these are quite expensive. The A-type overdrive solenoid is 50-60 American, I believe. This one is like 3 times more. I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to check. But anyways, unfortunately, we're gonna have to install it as it is, and we're gonna have to replace it again in the spring. Okay, I had to go to the store because I ran out of non-detergent oil. But look what's happening. The weather is quite dark and not really Triumph friendly. Alright, this is the oil that we're gonna use. 30 weight non-detergent, and we're gonna pump it in with this pump until it starts coming out of the filler hole, and then we're gonna test it again. I already installed the tool again. The plug is closed as well, so we're not gonna leak. Oh, look at that mess. Okay, so it took almost 2 liters, 2 quarts, I mean. Well, I guess 1 3/4, and it started dripping. So now we're gonna close the filler and let's test it. Can't wait. Okay, let's start the car again. Now it's cooled down, so I need to open the door. Oh my god, look at that. It started even accumulating. It's not a real snow, it's like a freezing rain, but there goes our test drive. Anyway, let's see now what this thing is gonna show. Of course, in neutral nothing happens because the output shaft of the transmission is not spinning, and that's what drives the oil pump. But when we put her in fourth gear, even with the overdrive off, the oil pump starts pumping and the pressure should build up. Okay, let's put her in fourth gear and see what's gonna happen. Here goes nothing. No pressure. Okay, let's wait for a while because when there you go. Wow, still very low. That's not good. Doesn't build more than 100 pounds. Let me turn the overdrive on just in case and see what's gonna happen. 3, 2, 1, go. There you go. Oh, now it's built actually. Good. That's interesting. Let's turn it off. So now the overdrive is off. Okay, so there was air inside, but still it's bouncing around 200. What is that? 300. I'm gonna play a little bit on and off, on and off. Nope, not building more than 300. Okay, so now the overdrive is off. And I'm gonna rev it a little bit to go to, say, 2000 RPM. Nothing changes. Well, I'm gonna pull a little bit the e-brake to put some load on it. Nope. Okay. Put the e-brake down. We don't wanna kill the brakes. But I can't tell if the overdrive is working now or not. So unfortunately, without test drive, we can't really tell whether the overdrive is working now or not. Obviously the valve operated initially. I'm assuming it does work, we just don't have load on the wheels. So anyways, unfortunately we can't take her for test drive, but we have enough information. We know what the next steps are. Alright, I just spoke to the owner and I told him that the solenoid got stuck, and it got stuck in an open position, which means the overdrive is stuck on. And he told me something that makes perfect sense now. He said that that is exactly what was happening. Initially, when he starts the car and the car is cold, the overdrive works perfectly, and then at some point it stops working, but it stops working in an on position. It remains engaged. So definitely our solenoid is the culprit. That's the conclusion. We're gonna leave it as it is right now because I can't go further than that. Actually, that was something that I told to the owner from the very beginning, before he brought the car, that I can only try and fix it without taking it apart. If that works, great. If it doesn't work, it's gonna be some other time when we're gonna have to take things apart and change them. Because behind me is the 70 TR6, which has been here for a month now, and I haven't touched it, and I have to start working on it. We need to finish it before spring, and I have other projects coming too, including a full body restoration on TR3, so can't take any more projects before the winter. I'm done. Now I'm doing these 2 big projects and that's it. And another engine that I'm rebuilding, but anyways. That's why what we're gonna do is we're gonna assemble it as it is. Of course, I'm gonna change the oil now. I'm gonna change the wheels. I'm gonna top up the differential, and that's gonna be it for this season. The owner is gonna take it to the winter storage, and then in the spring we're gonna replace the solenoid. And I'm pretty sure that this is gonna solve the problem. Even with the low pressure, I'm sure it is gonna work. So unfortunately, I can't take you for the test drive. Maybe if it dries up tomorrow, because the car is going to be here for 1 more day. They're picking it up the day after tomorrow. So if tomorrow it warms up, I'm going to take you for a test drive. If not, that's going to be the end of this video. So thanks for watching, commenting, subscribing, sharing and supporting me. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.